Well, it's still getting messier and messier in the It Ends With Us feud between co-stars Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni.
I said that having read through Blake Lively's complaints, that it was evident to me that she was likely under the influence when she filed her complaint.
Blake Lively's career is unraveling at an astonishing pace, and the latest developments in her legal battle with Justin Baldoni have only accelerated the downward spiral. What started as a high-profile defamation lawsuit has now exploded into a full-fledged Hollywood scandal with new accusations, counterclaims, and devastating consequences. As the legal war rages on, it's becoming increasingly clear that this situation is far bigger than anyone initially expected. Could this be the end of Blake Lively's career as we know it? Let's break it all down.
They say Friedman may even be violating the New York rules of professional conduct for lawyers by doing all this. Quote, his conduct threatens to and will materially prejudice both the Lively case and the Wayfarer case by tainting the jury pool because his statements are deliberately aimed at undermining the character, credibility, and reputation of numerous relevant parties.
The drama first erupted when Lively, who starred alongside Baldoni in the film It Ends With Us, filed a Bombshell lawsuit accusing him of inappropriate behavior on set. But Baldoni wasted no time fighting back, launching a massive defamation countersuit worth hundreds of millions. And now, things have taken an even darker turn. More and more people are coming forward with their own claims against Lively, and the evidence piling up against her is starting to look overwhelming.
You're not kidding when you say this is getting messier. The author of that book deleting her Instagram account, another who plays Baldoni's sister in the film, being harassed online.
One of the most shocking developments came when crisis peer specialist Jed Wallace entered the legal battlefield, suing Lively for defamation over claims that he orchestrated an online smear campaign against her. According to Wallace, Lively's accusations have caused him enormous financial and reputational damage, and he's demanding millions in compensation. But here's where things get even messier. Wallace insists he has never even met or spoken to Lively. Ever. So why is she dragging his name into this chaos? Lively's legal team, of course, is brushing off Wallace's lawsuit as yet another attempt to silence her, but the fact that more and more people are filing legal action against her is not a good look. And the worst part, this might just be the beginning.
I believe that it's a continuation of the smear campaign that Blake initially claims happened while they were promoting the film.
Meanwhile, Baldoni has been relentless in his legal counterattack. His team has released unedited footage from It Ends With Us that they claim completely debunks Lively's accusations. In the video, the two actors can be seen filming a slow dance scene, engaging in what appears to be normal on-set interactions. Lively's lawsuit had painted this moment as an instance of inappropriate behavior, but Baldoni's lawyers argue that the footage proves otherwise. Instead of looking distressed or uncomfortable, Lively is laughing, chatting, and even making suggestions about the scene. Baldoni's team insists that this directly contradicts her claims and exposes her lawsuit as a calculated attempt to destroy his career.
Literally, I'm just asking the question, like, how are women allowed to do this, to take something and to make it sound like you survived a because that's what it sounded like to the public.
But Lively's lawyers are refusing to back down. In response to the video's release, they slammed Baldoni's team for what they called a misleading media stunt, arguing that the footage actually supports Lively's version of events by showing her discomfort in real time. According to them, the fact that Baldoni's team chose to release the footage to the public instead of presenting it in court is proof that this is nothing more than an intimidation tactic. And if that wasn't enough, Lively is now demanding a gag order to prevent Baldoni's lawyers from making any more public statements about the case. This move has sparked even more controversy, with many accusing Lively of trying to silence the truth. After all, wasn't she the one who first took this battle to the press? Baldoni's team has pointed out that Lively had no problem using the media to push her initial allegations, so why is she suddenly demanding secrecy now that the evidence isn't working in her favor? It's a question that has left many people questioning her motives.
She also provided a cease and desist letter, asking them to cease, quote, all unlawful conduct, namely what they alleged is the, quote, harassing and retaliatory media and online campaign against Miss Lively.
And speaking of media narratives, let's talk about the bombshell revelations surrounding Lively's alleged behind-the-scenes behavior. Over the past few weeks, numerous reports have surfaced painting a very different picture of the actress than the one she has carefully curated over the years. One particularly damning claim comes from a former Gossip Girl actress and current TV host, Rossella Rago, who recently spoke out about her experience working with Lively. According to Rago, Lively was nothing short of a nightmare on set, acting entitled Looking Down on Others, and even displaying bizarre and unprofessional behavior between takes.
And one of the most significant allegations in Baldoni's lawsuit is that Lively sought to gain control over the editing process of the film. This is important.
Rayo didn't hold back, stating that Lively would openly belittle people on set and act as if everyone around her was beneath her. She even went as far as to describe Lively's behavior as outright disgusting, claiming that the actress would burp and pass gas on set without a care in the world. And that's not all. Rago also suggested that Lively's real problem is that she's simply not used to people pushing back against her. She spent her entire career being adored, and now that she's facing serious backlash, she doesn't know how to handle it.
You have two sides here, right? So Baldoni says this was all an effort to hijack the film to get her way. Lively claims she was the victim of harassment in a hostile work environment.
These kinds of allegations are incredibly damaging, especially when combined with the legal trouble she's already in. Hollywood may be a place of second chances, but when multiple people start coming forward with stories like this, it becomes much harder to bounce back. Lively has spent years cultivating an image as one of Hollywood's most beloved actresses, but if these claims continue to gain traction, that image could crumble beyond repair. And let's not forget about Taylor Swift, one of Lively's closest friends, who has now reportedly started distancing herself from the actress. According to insiders, Swift was dragged into the legal feud when Baldoni claimed that Lively used her as an intimidation tactic in a private meeting. Allegedly, Lively invited Swift to a discussion with Baldoni and Ryan Reynolds, making it clear that she had powerful allies in her corner. The implication was that Baldoni should fall in line or risk Swift's fan base turning against him.
We just broke a shocking story. There is a rift, and I think that is an understatement of a word, a rift.
This revelation has reportedly left Swift feeling extremely uncomfortable, with sources claiming that the pop star never intended to be involved in this mess. And now, as the situation continues to spiral, it looks like Swift is pulling away from Lively altogether. If true, this is a devastating blow. Lively and Swift's friendship has been one of the most publicized in Hollywood, and losing that kind of support could be catastrophic for Lively's already crumbling reputation.
So remember that what Taylor had told Justin was that Blake herself, she said, was Khaleesi, who was the queen in Game of Thrones, and Ryan, her husband, and Taylor were her dragons. Her best friend, although I think best friend is now past tense.
And here's where things take an even darker turn. There are now whispers that Swift could actually be called to testify against Lively in court. While nothing has been confirmed, the idea that Swift might be forced to take the stand and clarify her involvement in this fiasco is something that could change everything. If Swift confirms Baldoni's claims, it would be a massive blow to Lively's credibility. And even if she doesn't, the fact that her name is even being mentioned in this legal battle is a huge problem for Lively.
This is a big mess for everyone involved. The legal drama playing out in multiple courts now, literally from coast to coast, and all kinds of people close to these stars, from personal trainers to friends like Taylor Swift, finding their names mentioned as part of this ongoing fight.
At this point, the evidence is stacking up against Lively faster than she can fight back. Between the lawsuits, the backlash, and the potential loss of key industry allies, things are not looking good for her. And the worst part, this might only be the beginning. With a trial date set for 2026, this legal war isn't going away anytime soon. Lively may have hoped that she could control the narrative by taking the fight public, but if anything, that decision seems to have backfired spectacularly. Now she finds herself on the defensive, desperately trying to regain control of a situation that is clearly slipping through her fingers. And as the case moves forward, one question remains: will Lively be able to survive this scandal? Or is this the beginning of the end for her Hollywood career? One thing is for sure, this is far from over. And if the past few weeks have been any indication, the worst may be yet to come. Blake Lively's world is crumbling, and the fallout from her legal battle with Justin Baldoni is only the beginning. The headlines are relentless, the lawsuits are piling up, and now even those closest to her are starting to turn away. The glamorous, picture-perfect life she built over the years is unraveling in real time, and at this point, it's hard to see a way out. How did she go from Hollywood's golden star to the center of one of the most chaotic scandals in recent memory? And perhaps an even bigger question: who will still be standing by her side when the dust settles?
But yeah, it's just getting super nasty, and it seems like he's not cowering to this attempted gag order.
Yeah, I don't really understand Blake Lively's point here.
If the legal firestorm wasn't enough, Blake's personal and professional relationships are also taking a massive hit. One of the biggest shocks came when rumors started swirling that Taylor Swift, the very person who once seemed like her most loyal supporter, was quietly distancing herself. For years, Blake and Taylor's friendship had been one of Hollywood's most publicized, with the two frequently being spotted on vacations together, celebrating birthdays, and even featuring each other's families in their work. But now, that friendship might be falling apart, and the timing couldn't be worse for Blake. According to insiders, Taylor was blindsided when her name was unexpectedly dragged into the legal mess between Blake and Baldoni. Apparently, she had no idea that her presence at a casual hangout would later be used as alleged evidence of intimidation tactics. Baldoni's lawsuit claims that Blake strategically invited Taylor to a meeting with him and Ryan Reynolds, making it clear that she had powerful allies backing her. The implication? That Baldoni should tread carefully or risk having Taylor's massive fan base turn against him.
We can now all agree that the moral crimes committed here by Ryan Reynolds against Justin Baldoni have amounted to high treason.
This revelation reportedly left Taylor feeling used. And if there's one thing she does not tolerate, it's being manipulated for someone else's agenda. Sources say she was furious when she realized how her mere presence had been weaponized in a legal battle she wanted no part in. And while she hasn't made any public statements about it, the signs are hard to ignore. The most telling clue: Taylor has stopped publicly supporting Blake. While she was once quick to show up for her friend, whether it was by attending events or posting about her latest projects, she has now gone completely silent. No Instagram shoutouts, no public outings, nothing. And in Taylor's world, silence often speaks louder than words.
So I'm just going to very quickly, before I give you all of the tea that I got over the weekend, I'm going to go over the biggest revelations from the filing.
But that's not even the worst part. There are now whispers that Taylor might actually be called to testify in court. While nothing has been confirmed, the idea that she could be forced to take the stand and clarify her involvement in this situation is a nightmare scenario for Blake. If Taylor confirms Baldoni's claims, it would be an undeniable blow to Blake's credibility. And even if she doesn't, the fact that she's being pulled into this at all is a disaster in itself. And Taylor isn't the only one backing away. Other Hollywood insiders who once stood firmly in Blake's corner are suddenly nowhere to be seen. The industry is watching this scandal unfold, and many are quietly deciding that it's safer to keep their distance. Even some of Blake's former co-stars have remained eerily silent, refusing to comment on the situation or offer any public words of support. It's a stark contrast to the overwhelming backing that many other A-listers receive when facing controversy.
But genuinely, Steph, if you're watching this, I genuinely don't like Blake Lively. Like I genuinely know. I've known she's a brat. Nobody's paying me to say this.
The whispers behind the scenes are growing louder. Blake Lively is becoming a liability. Studios don't want to be associated with a scandal that's spiraling out of control. Brands that once clamored to work with her are now hesitant, worried about potential backlash. And the people who once filled her world with admiration and praise, they're slowly but surely fading away. Hollywood is a place where reputation is everything, and Blake's is deteriorating by the minute. The once beloved actress, known for her effortless charm and carefully curated public image, is now facing the possibility of becoming an outcast in an industry that moves on quickly. The more the situation drags on, the more damage it does. And at some point, even the most powerful connections won't be enough to save her. And then there's the looming question: could Blake actually be blacklisted from Hollywood altogether? While that might have seemed impossible, just a few months ago, it's no longer out of the realm of possibility. The industry has a long history of turning its back on those who become too problematic, and if the lawsuits continue to escalate, Blake might find herself fighting for more than just her reputation. She could be fighting for her entire career.
New video released by lawyers for actor Justin Baldoni showed unedited footage from the filming of It Ends With Us.
The impact is already starting to show. Rumors are swirling that upcoming projects she was once attached to are now reconsidering her involvement. Some sources claim that major studios are quietly removing her name from discussions, unwilling to take the risk of associating their films with the scandal. And if that's the case, then Blake's future in Hollywood is in serious jeopardy. And let's not forget about Ryan Reynolds, Blake's husband, who has largely stayed out of the drama but is undoubtedly feeling the effects. While he hasn't publicly addressed the situation, insiders say that even he is struggling with the fallout. He built his own empire based on a squeaky clean reputation. And now he's being dragged into a legal battle that threatens to tarnish the image he has worked so hard to maintain.
Shutting down a woman's claim.
She is claiming that there was harassment. He's saying none of it is true, never happened, never did.
There have even been whispers that tensions are rising between the couple behind closed doors. While they've always presented a united front, sources claim that the stress of the lawsuits, the media scrutiny, and the potential career consequences are starting to take a toll. And if things continue in this direction, it wouldn't be surprising if cracks begin to show in their seemingly perfect marriage. At this point, the situation is spiraling faster than anyone could have predicted. The lawsuits, the backlash, the loss of support, it's all adding up to a level of damage that might be impossible to come back from. And yet, Blake doesn't seem to be doing herself any favors. Instead of taking a step back and regrouping, she continues to push forward, doubling down on her claims and refusing to acknowledge the growing storm around her.
Now to the ongoing Hollywood drama everyone is talking about, the legal battle between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni.
But how long can she keep this up? How much more can she afford to lose before she realizes that the tide has turned against her? The reality is Hollywood is unforgiving. 1 minute, you're at the top of the world, and the next, you're struggling to hold on to what's left of your career. And right now, Blake Lively is dangerously close to crossing that line. The real question is, will she be able to pull herself out of this mess before it's too late, or is she already past the point of no return? One thing is certain, this story is far from over, and the next chapter might be Blake's biggest downfall yet. So, what do you think? Is there any way for Blake to recover from this, or has she completely destroyed her own career? And do you believe Taylor Swift will actually testify if it comes down to it? Let us know in the comments, and as always, stay tuned for the latest updates on this unfolding Hollywood drama.